If you, huh? I don't know. John will tell us to move if we need to. Okay, if you've not been to an Ignite talk before, the way this works is the presenters have 5 minutes to speak on whatever topic they choose. They have 20 PowerPoint slides set to auto-advance every 15 seconds. We do have one violator of that rule, but we let it slide. His total length is still 5 minutes. And so, so Sherry and I ate dinner real quick and put Arthur's presentation. He hasn't seen it yet. He'll see it when it's his turn to perform. Okay, we also, right here. This is something that started at the AMAT, where we first got this idea. Presenters can take a shot before they start to loosen them up or mess them up, whatever. We got tequila and water, so for those who don't want the shots, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm going to drink my water real quick.
All right, Scott.
Water blood.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you all doing this evening?
It wasn't water.
Here we go. My name is Scott McClendon. I'm from Somerset Community College. I want to talk about gifts. Maybe. There we go. And I couldn't decide on my title, so GIF, and it is GIF, by the way.
That's great.
Last time I gave a talk about Bob Ross, which is one of the best teachers in the world. And I can't get away from this anymore. Everyone has, literally, I've gotten emails or text messages about Bob Ross since last year, which is all right. But I made a bunch of gifts for that presentation. So, instead of going out and finding them all, which everyone can find these gifts about anywhere, and they're all funny, right? Or Kitty Cat or Chuck Norris, but you can't find Bob Ross gifts about one specific topic. So I was able to make those gifs. So if you don't know what it is, a GIF is a file extension .gif. Blah, 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 blah. It's a file that you can save. It's almost like a video with no audio, and it works on multiple platforms. You've probably seen all these on Facebook, and you've probably seen them anywhere and everywhere. You can go on iOS store, find them on iOS or Google, the Giphy. There's one you can use on computers called Lyscap. It sounds gross. But now there's an online version of them, which I use to make my Bob Ross GIFs, called gifs.com. And the cool part about this, you can take any video on YouTube, get the link to it, pop it in here, and click on continue, or you can upload your own video. But you can make anything on YouTube a GIF, which means if you have any of your math videos on YouTube, you can make a little GIF out of it, right? Or if you found your favorite movie, I don't know, whatever.
Oh no! My microphone is dead, man!
Talk louder.
Okay, so here's gifs.com. I've already uploaded one here, and you can see on the side there all the things you do with them. First thing you start off with is where you want your gift to start, and where you want it to end, and they're about 20 seconds. 20 seconds. So you have to make sure your videos are condensed. Then you can add captions. You can see those 3 purple bars there, and those are going to be 3 captions. In this particular example, it was how to edit points in my lab. So it's click on a point, click on edit points, type in point. The cool part of gifs.com is you get these to host your gifs, which means you can get a direct link, you can embed them, or you can download them. Why is that important? Well, if it's a direct link, then you can, or if you can download them, then you have to put this into some PowerPoints that you could give to your students. So they don't have to click on a link to go to a video anymore. They can just see this is part of my PowerPoint slide I gave, and then you got the nice little example to the side of it, which I think is pretty stinking neat, right? Or you could do the following. I don't know if you can see this, but this is Blackboard.
And that wasn't as long.
And this is an announcement. And it works. This is just a screenshot. But you can do your announcements, and you can go and put a GIF in there in your announcements. So you don't have to follow a link in your announcements, and it'll auto-play whenever the students go in. So anywhere in Blackboard, you find this little insert edit image, and then you just copy that link that you'd find in gifs.com. Here is where my office is in Stoner Hall, office 420. No, it's not. This is instead of telling my students where my office is, well, this is the straight she runs the joint basically. She's the assistant, but joint together. So I'm sure basically my students can see where my office is. It's 214, not 420. Make it right. Bam, right there I am. Now I could put that as an announcement, right? Instead of just Aura, I could slide it into PowerPoint. Now Word doesn't work too well, and sending it in an Outlook doesn't work very well. I made that one using LiceCap, and that little box right there is the program LiceCap. So basically, I played the video, overlaid LiceCap on top of it, and hit record. So any video you've got, you can make a GIF out of it. There you go. Who's that? Who's up there?
Shot.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm a water person, sorry.
I was just kidding.
Okay, so come see the snarky side. So, do I have to stand? Oh, I have to stand here? Okay. So my last name is Sears, which is a source of joy in some sense. But the question I always get, because nobody believes it's actually Sears, how do you spell your name? Well, I've got two different answers I can give. Almost. There we go. Well, I can say, hey, it's the same as the tallest building in Chicago, right?
They changed the name.
Yeah, not anymore. So the other thing I can say is, yeah, it's the same as the store. Except,
Anymore.
I'm trying to take this personally. But Sears lives on. Okay, so I'm having a little fun with retail, but in my my liberal arts math class, one of the things I really like to talk about is financial literacy. Okay, because we have all of our financial calculations, we can show our students how important it is to be careful with the money. Now, Aaron's is a store, and I was traveling with my family through Tennessee, and I spotted on the Aaron's, this isn't my photo, but I have one similar to it, interesting and provocative ad. Do the math, it says. Nobody beats Aaron's.
That's a challenge.
Okay, challenge accepted, and I will say you brought this upon yourself. Now we also have an Aaron's real close to our campus, so I can go point to them. So here is a TV. Aaron's is a lease-to-own store. Here's the Samsung TV, 55-inch. I don't know why you'd want one that big, but there it is. Now the way it works is you make monthly payments, and they are very upfront. You can see that TV. They call the cash price of $958.99. You pay $69.99 per month, and they tell you total cost of ownership is $1,600. Well, what's the interest rate? We can do the math. So if you go with the simple interest formula, it works out to be a 35.2% annual percentage rate. That's taking the starting and then the ending prices. Compound interest, it works out to be a 26.9 APR. Now if you go with the annual percentage yield, which you're supposed to use, it's 30.5%. Now where it gets real bad is if you look at this as a mortgage. If you borrow $985 and pay back $69.99 a month, the interest rate works out to be 57.5% APR. Okay. It says nobody beats Aaron's. Let's see about that. So this is something I worked through with the students. Can you do better? And
Can you?
15 seconds is a
eventually.
long time.
15 seconds is a long time. So if you charge to a credit card 24% annual percentage rate, make monthly payments to pay it off in 2 years, you pay $52 a month. Total payments is $1251.12, and you save $428. If you're smart and pay into a savings account every month, you can cover the cash price of the TV for $40.62. Total deposits is $974.88 and save $700 and change. Now, if you just put money into the account at the beginning, let it sit for 2 years like a CD, you can put down $962.62 and save $717.14 over errands. Or you could go comparison shopping, maybe from Sears. So you can lease from Sears. Their total lease is $973.13 for the exact same television. Cash price at Sears is $547. It was over $900 at Aaron's. Okay. Now, if you walk into Sears and pay with a credit card, you can do the calculations. If you want to pay it off in 2 years, you pay $28.92 per month. Total payments is still under $700. Savings is $958.68. And then finally, if you just took the money, put it in the account for 2 years, and then paid for the TV, you can pay for $533.76 and save $1146, over $1,000. Thank you. Okay, so we've been at the college. We've been sharing when we email each other. We've gotten to where we email in memes. So I've gotten to where I start sharing some of these memes with the students, and I think it's a little more fun way to do it than just the standard stuff. Now I'm going to use the Marvel Universe to share these, so I hope none of these go over your head. So if you're not familiar, you may not catch some of these. But some of these are pretty good. I found this one that I've given to all my classes at the beginning. I thought it kind of sends a good message. That they need to work hard. So I usually share this at the beginning of the semester. If you don't know, that's one of the characters who got his superpowers that way. Here's a good one if you're working with balancing equations. So it might be a good reminder, those that are familiar with the movies, especially the last one where this is a big part of it, might help them remember that when they're working those problems. Now this one I do share with my Math 65, the developmental classes. This is a scene from one of the movies where he says a quarter is only 1/3. And then the Yandu is kind of the leader, and his expression during the scene is like mine many times when you try to explain things and they just don't seem to get it. I'd like to share some of these. I have to be careful. Again, from the movie, What Are You Doing? Which is when you see students doing the wrong thing, and then, we don't do that here. Because they do things certain. I get a lot of emails from students, and I don't know why. They send a lot of emails like, I'm really sorry, I don't mean to send you this email. I don't want to bother you, and it's like, it's not a big problem, so I may start sending that one to them. And then, sometimes when you don't work out all the steps ahead of time, and you're not really picky, you want them to get the big picture, and they're focusing on the little details, I think this is a good one to share. Now this one I might share in my classes so they understand where it's coming from, and you have to understand this scene from the movie. A lot of times students do good work, but they do it the hard way. And so if you remember this, it says, let's talk about this plan. I think it's good, except it sucks. That's kind of good because you let the students know they are on the right track, but there might be a better way. Now this is one, if you know anything about the Tony Stark character, his facial expressions say a lot. These are a lot of things I would like to send as replies to students on some things, but I know I shouldn't. Here's two even worse ones I probably shouldn't send. Now, these next two are from my favorite character, and I usually send these when I'm venting to my colleagues and sharing things that's less, I don't know what to do. This is the one that's my general venting picture. But then sometimes it's just so bizarre and I'm just in the bad mood that I end up sending this one instead. Sherry and I were talking the other day. You probably had this where you get students who have kind of disappeared from your class, either online and you get an email out of nowhere, or they show up back out of nowhere, and your expression is probably... and then you get the emails from the students that send you an email like they text with no capitalization, no punctuation, no form, and you really don't know what they say, and you end up spending a lot of time trying to translate, what they say. And it's like, I don't know how to reply, because I really don't know what you're trying to say, so what's a good reply that would kind of give you the same thing back? And so I haven't done this yet, but I'd like to reply with... Now, another thing I do with my online students at the beginning is I ask them to send photos so I can learn faces and names, and I keep a file of all the students. And then, some of them end up withdrawing, so I can keep up with it. I found a way you can edit the picture. The one on the left is current, and then as they disappear from the class, but that's just for me. On the plus side, a lot of times this is good, because when I'm emailing with students, these aren't always mean. Sometimes students and I go back and forth on emails, and you're telling them, hey, you're doing it right, or you got it right. So sometimes I have sent these just a smile or a wink, just to say, hey, you're doing things the right way. One of my favorite recent stories, I had a young lady who was really working hard and was asking me questions, and I was trying to give her some hints, and she wasn't quite getting it. She was getting real close, and she finally figured it out and sent in the right answer, and my reply was... And she replied that she loved the email. The next day in class, she was telling everybody, hey, he sent me this Thor picture as the email. So, yeah, it's different. The students who know the Marvel Universe like it, and I don't know, it's fun.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
All right, I have no idea what they put up there. I'm Martha Schultz. I teach at Fort Campbell. I teach math. I'm Puerto Rican by heritage, which means the fact that I speak fast, and most Puerto Ricans speak fast in Spanish. I do it in English. Most Puerto Ricans speak loud when they speak. I do it, of course, in English. So I tell my students, of course, to make sure the fact that if you don't understand anything I say, let me know. I'll go back and repeat and clarify. Cincinnati Reds, Cincinnati Bengals, my favorite team. I don't know why it is. I guess I got it from my dad. I cheer for them even though they lose horrendously year after year after year. But one of these days, they're not going to stop being the Bungles. They're, oh, Elizabeth, come please. I said, Arthur, I told me I can't dance. Oh, yeah, right, I cannot dance. You don't want to see this thing? No, you don't want to see that happen. That's not even no, but Elizabeth, no. I want to go see Elizabeth. I do want to see Elizabeth, though. Yes, let me explain one more time.
Well placed.
Really? That's about half my students, about the first week or two, and after that, well, just like, just go on. Because we don't class faster, it's done. You understand? Do you have any questions? No. What?
Go ahead.
Star Wars is an awesome picture. You should definitely have watched every single one of them. I don't know why, but no. You would be surprised the number of students that don't actually have to slow down, like that they can keep up with everything. And actually, for the first 3 years of my PPE, my division chair put on there the fact that I'd be able to learn to talk slower. Everything you do, talk slower, talk slower. He said, you know what, I'm done. You just go. As long as your classes are passing, they're good to go from there. I thought this was a pinata thing. It's like some sort of I'm Puerto Rican, not Mexican and stuff like that. But okay, yeah, that happens. I teach at night and stuff like that, so the bodies are found, go in different places and stuff like that. So. That's what a lot of my students feel like and stuff like that. They feel like if the math is a foreign language or stuff like that, so it's being taught by a Spanish-speaking teacher, you're better. That's exactly what our students feel like today. Every single day they feel like that's as fast as we talk about. What is that? to do with anything.
Your job.
Really? Aren't you glad you put that picture in there? I don't know. Oh, come on. I can't come up with
Orange, yeah.
Oh, my absolute favorite is Quantum Leap. Like I said, I miss it. Like I said, I'm sad the fact he never got to leap home and stuff like that, but I love the fact he gets to go back and fix everything. So, 97% of the year to drink beer. Yeah, that's it.
Dilly dilly.
Counting. Counting is hard for many of my students and stuff like that. They'll get there. Is that it? Because you said Quantum Leap was supposed to be the end, so.
No, that's not what I said.
Yes, it was. Mr. Roadrunner can't count has cuatro. One of those that are cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez, once, doce, trece, quince. All right, come on, you got this. I know it. Come on, give me something better.
Oh.
Ooh. Challenge accepted. I promise you, I had no idea what it was. Our illustrious division chair, Mr. Ted Joseph.
Come on, elaborate.
Elaborate on the man who says tells me constantly to slow down and ask everybody if they understand what I'm saying. And of course, everybody's like, yeah, sure, we get it. He's just like, 2023 is what he's coming down to. What Ted will probably look like when he retires. No, I didn't say that. I said that part.
What?
Well, Ted probably feels like after he listens to my lecture and stuff like that. Wow.
Are you speechless?
That's just a face. I don't know. Oh, and this is my compadres. These are my family away from family. Whenever I'm not at work, whenever I'm not at home and stuff like that, these are the people who make me feel good and stuff like that. Of course, I have to be out there, the only one in blue after everybody else is wearing black and stuff like that. That's because I graduated from TSU. It's the only one that wears blue and stuff like that. There we go. Scott Bakula crew. There you go. Any questions? Anything?
Questions.
Who's next?
Oh boy. All right.
See if you follow that.
Hard to follow that one.
The halfway point apparently is somewhere halfway through my presentation, so. All right, so this presentation all is about the fact that my college actually put up some fake news about math on a poster advertising the math department. And so, have you ever seen one of these things on the internet? All right, so who absolutely hates these things? I mean, there is a taco in this one, though. So, taco does happen to be one of my favorite foods, but you see there's no questions about tacos in there. So, this is a type of wrong math that my students do, even with a calculator. So, 1 plus 1 equals, what is that? Like, I can't even find the equals button anywhere on the calculator. And so, I saw this now. I love to get this as a tax deduction. It's a business expense, and I can still itemize if I go over a certain amount. And this one right here, you thought Sears was going out of business. Circuit City went out of business a lot sooner, and this can be part of the reason why. So I never really liked Circuit City too much, but Walmart, they're rolling back. So let's roll this right back to a time when Sears was doing great, and we didn't have errands anywhere, and roll back the prices. So it was 1994. So now this is actually one of so somebody putting random tacos in my slides, but that's nice here. But does anyone know that therefore symbol is actually wrong, because it's supposed to be dots and those are squares? All right. Now this one right here, you see how there are random equal signs there, and it's equal to negative 50. Well, I actually, that's not possible. Are you kidding me? So why are these random math things all over the place? So this actually makes a lot of sense here, doesn't it? This is why actually we have a financial crisis in the United States, and why people people don't understand fraction. Oh yeah, this one is very nice. I mean, I don't get wine all the time if it was 0.25 cents. Okay? Bottles can I get? Hey, like 2 liters, 2 liters. I'll buy 500 liters. 50% off, or that's the price. Well, come on, what's half off 0.25 cents? Give it to me. 0.125 cents, something like that, right? So, wow. All right, what is this one? That can't be right. So, does anyone not know how to distribute property? Or maybe. Yeah, maybe, yeah, well, you know what? I know how to distribute properly. I'll give everyone a bottle of wine that I bought for 0.25 cents. Yeah, look at this one. Where did the random a squared come from over there? I really am not actually sure. And then where did the over 2 come from? And then this one right here, there's some random things like, I don't actually know how that even ended up in there. A times A should be A squared or something, but you know, that's okay. People won't even look that closely. And then this one, they always want us to tell the students y equals mx plus b, and they can't even remember b. And see you later, right? And this one, what is size? Is that sin squared? Sin? What is it's the sin squared because I drank too many bottles of that cheap wine? Cos squared? What is that? Now, this can't be right. The derivative f prime of x equals, that can't be right. And I have to tell my students to write the limit all the time, and they still, like, what is this? This is the limit of my patience, is what one student wrote on my testing the other day. Now, this dx plus c, I mean, like, is this like a prescription? Like, maybe that's a t and not a plus sign, so it's just dxtc. I don't know what that means. Now this one, this actually is one of those where I'm pretty sure this is just like somebody cheated off of the other person and they put the square root in instead of the square root of pi it's supposed to be. You know, like they really were trying to cheat and they couldn't do it very well. So, you know what, I don't like tomatoes on my tacos, so this is a fail also. So, nice try there. You know, I got my eyes on it. The beam generators over there.
I guess I have to get a drink.
Got you good.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah. Water's horrible.
This one is Becky approved. All right, so my talk actually is totally random. Pat and I were talking on the way here about some really weird things that have happened in the real world. So my husband and I were at our financial advisor, sorry, alcohol. We're at our financial advisor, and they brought in somebody that was going to try to sell us on this one product. And he starts talking about how within one standard deviation of the mean, it's 90% of the people get X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, maybe he just had this wrong. So I'm listening to him, and he repeats the same thing. 90% was within one standard deviation of the mean. And everything he was doing was on the plus side. And finally, I'm like, okay, honey, stop. I said, where did you get this? Oh, well, you know, our complex math algorithm. And I said, whoa. Honey, no, stop. And my husband kind of laughed. He says, she's a math professor. And the guy's like, you could just see the look on his face. So you got to know your audience. Second thing that I want to tell you all about, a little funny story. So I was teaching my statistics class the other day, and we were doing linear regression. And I have them, I love this one. This is ultra sucky math scores and genius level math scores. So again, these are totally random slides. So anyway, so I'm in my statistics class, and we're doing a regression analysis where they take kind of a Barbie bungee jump. I love this one. The Barbie bungee jump, where they have to figure out how many rubber bands it will take and how far their Barbie will fall. Well, I have 3 of my calculus students in that class, and use them, and then they have to try to figure it out. They took the spring coefficient, and they were actually able to calculate how many rubber bands, and it was the exact same as the regression. So they were all proud of themselves, and I said, now write it up for me. So then they had to write it up. Okay, this one is for Pat. Laws broken by Wile E. Coyote. Laws of gravity is in red. So this one, again, I found for Pat. And I love this one. Did you know the average American watches 24 hours of TV a day? It's a fact. I swear that's what we've been seeing on the news lately. It's a fact. What's my next one? Oh, I love this one. This is a conundrum.
Oh.
Try to explain that one to your students.
Oh.
I love making up stats in class. Like 98% of all violent felons ate bread within 3 hours of committing their crime. And watch their expressions.
Wow.
This is another one. I actually had to argue with a student about this. They're like, either I play or I don't. I win or I don't. No, honey. No. I swear I've seen this expression on my students' faces. And every class period. What's my next one? Statistics show that criminals commit less crime after they've been shot. We're going to be going over that next week. And my absolute favorite is the next one. True story. This next one is me. I'm not part of the same. Thank you. Lynn? I didn't want to go after Lynn.
Oh, we're such a great population.
I'm really nervous, sorry. Oh, why did it not show?
There we go.
So a little bit about me. My name is Lynn Tran, and I teach math, and I'm a mom to 4 kids, and I do social media. And I said 4 kids because I've been asked like 6 times today how many kids I have. Like, 7 now, Lynn? I'm like, no, I have 4. So, anyway, James is my oldest, and he's the lucky one that gets to see me or to venture math with me or with him through his school years. Fun fact, the 3 youngest were born during Kymatyc years, so I had 3 babies. So I went through all this. Let me turn around. So my son brought this worksheet home, and his teacher said that she wouldn't accept it. And so I put on Facebook that I was very upset about it, and if I look at it very carefully, I don't think you can see that, he did everything right. So I had 112 comments. And so you can see the problem there. Does this seem legit to you guys? If you look at it, can you see that? So he subtracted 2 from both sides, solved for x, and I had 112 comments, and half of them were math people like you guys, and the other half were not. And so, so I had to rate my anger level here. Was I Jerry Johnson angry, or was I fine? So I was actually up there with Jerry. Teacher's a moron, she's a moron, she's a moron. So some of my friends said, hey, they must not know you're a math teacher. And I'm like, all my emails say math professor, Kymatyc member at large. I mean, how many credentials can you have? So I said, what's wrong with this, blah, blah. And she just replied back in an email, student must write it this way. And I said, okay, so I'm fine with the way James wrote it. In fact, the way that James wrote it is the way I teach it. And eventually I do want them to write it this way, but okay. So my friend, who I'm not going to name here, wrote or told me, but I thought the whole point of having students show work is to see their thought process. And his thought process was perfectly clear. I would kill for my students at JCTC to show that kind of work. So in my email, I said, this Common Core that I'm not getting right here. And so I looked at Common Core, and Common Core says it should focus on developing the critical thinking, problem solving, analytical skills, blah, blah, blah. And it said that by asking students to understand something also means asking a teacher to assess whether the student has understood it. But what does mathematical understanding look like? One way for teachers to do that is to ask the student to justify in a way that is appropriate to the student. So I did my best to tell James that he was right, but more important that his thought process was correct. So my biggest annoyance is that she gave back the paper and there was nothing on it. So she could have written that out to the side and we would have been fine. I would have been maybe less annoyed, but still annoyed. So anyway, I tell James that he's lucky that I'm his math teacher, and he doesn't think so, but he's lucky. But what about the parent who doesn't question when their daughter or son brings home this kind of work? Or the parent who never sees the paper? Where's that kid gonna think I suck at math? So anyway, that was 6th grade, that was last week. This is another paper he had in 1st grade, and she marked 2 of them wrong. I don't know if you can see back there, but just if the statement's not true, make it true. And he did fine. So I put it on Facebook. I always put things on Facebook when I don't know what's going on. So these are all math teachers, actually elementary math teachers, and they all replied back that he was fine. He demonstrated his work. His thought process was fine. Some of my colleagues said, I'm going to use this as a teaching tool for my class. My friend Miranda actually said she has to actually pull for her girls when they are wrong in math too. So she's not I'm not the only person that defends my kids. So I actually pulled these off online, Common Core. I don't know too much about Common Core, but I did encounter a division problem in 4th grade where you had to do Common Core long division, and I had to email the teacher like 5 times to figure out what was going on. This was actually back in maybe 3rd or 4th grade, and James was doing a decimal math worksheet, and I corrected him, and he said I was wrong. And so I'm waiting for a teacher. I emailed the teacher to make sure I was right, and whatever. The teacher emailed me back, and she said James was right. They were doing rounding decimals, and he had to round 0.57 to the nearest 10th, and she said 0.60 was correct. Oh. So at this point, I'm like, am I right? Am I wrong? I need clarification. So Marty, is Marty here? She emailed me back and said, you're right. So great. So these are actually non-math people. I have an English person there, and I have an actual friend, and they got it. They got it. They don't have a math degree. So, I just kind of replied back. So sometimes Facebook helps me figure out that I'm right. So anyway, here's my son. There's James doing math work. He doesn't need my help. And maybe he doesn't need my help, but I do feel like as a mom, I need to kind of go back and defend him when I feel like he's right. And here's my other son, Henry. He's now in 1st grade, and he won the mathematician award. Anyway, so this is the last 2 slides. So Pat Riley likes to get Ignite talks, so here's our whole chain here. And they offered to invite James' teacher to come see me. They also talked about how I couldn't cover for the keynote in case he canceled. And I did not jinx it, I promise. So it's on record, but thank you, Dave, for covering, because I didn't know how to do it, I was getting there. So that's it, thank you.
That was great. These have all been hilarious. So this is your break from comedy, though. I even have notes. Ooh, I did that live. Okay, so I want to talk about equity, diversity, and social justice. And I even wrote some notes to keep myself on task. And this is something that I've come to backhanded and been involved with without even knowing I was involved in it. And so we start with what we know, start with the connection, and boom, here we are, a really common image, equality versus equity. And like Jennifer and Lord Copeland, a woman at our school, posted, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it, this is a really nice idea. Instead of everybody having the same thing, we have what we need. But what's wrong with this image? And I'm like, really, there's something wrong with it? Well, it's overly simplistic. It's easy to change the narrative, and you would not believe how mean some of these memes get. And it doesn't address the systemic inequality that's really happening in the system. So here's a variation on a theme. And one of the questions is, who is in the stadium? Who are the people who are in the stadium? And what do the people look like who are on the outside? Here's another image that tries to really show what reality is with the systemic inequalities, where some people are just so greatly disadvantaged and some people are already disadvantaged, or already at a great advantage. And then this is a really good slide in terms of, first of all, there's no capitalism question about them looking at the game. And then there's a fence that opens up the view to everyone, and it talks about addressing the underlying causes behind the barriers. All right, so then with no transition, because we have 15 seconds, we go right into diversity. And Harvard Business Review, I don't normally read that, but when I was studying up on equity and diversity and social justice, they had article after article. It was really interesting. And so here's something where it talks about non-homogeneous teams are simply smarter. There's something about that where it challenges your brains to overcome its stale ways of thinking and sharpen its performance. So in this case, our decisions get sidetracked by our biases. So it's possible to change the context of your decision by looking at what kind of diverse team you can create. And so here's a nice simple graphical image from Forbes magazine that it oversimplifies it, but basically shows you, yes, diverse teams make better decisions. By having, it's kind of like a contrast to the echo chamber, right? We need people in different points of view to make things better. And then I love this about cognitive diversity because the way we think. And so this is just so Title III in terms of collaboration, identifying problems. You need rule breakers and rule followers all in the same group to kind of balance things out. So I discovered this author, Dafina Lazarus Stewart. Their pronouns are Z, Zem, and Zer. If you don't know Z, Zem, and Zer, you need to watch One Day at a Time, Season 2, Episode 3. It's awesome and amazing. And then the next few slides are going to just tell themselves. But basically, she says some colleges give lip service to talking about equity issues and social justice issues. But here's what's really happening. When you say, okay, who's in the room? Do we have diversity? The question is, who's trying to get into the room or whose presence is threatened and their constant threat? Has everyone's ideas been heard? Okay, whose ideas won't be taken as seriously because they aren't in the majority? Deep breaths. Diversity asks, how many more of any group do we have this year than last year? That's what your college is going to measure, right? That's the data and statistics they put. The question is, what conditions have we created that maintain certain groups as a perpetual majority here? Is this environment safe for everyone to feel like they belong? That is a great question. We really want our students in our classes especially to feel safe and comfortable and to be able to ask questions. But whose safety might be being sacrificed at the expense of others? Okay, so there's actually a whole committee in Kymatyc that focuses on these questions and these issues and the goal of trying to increase mathematics achievements in diverse learners. So to reward you for listening to my serious topic, I took a variation on a theme for science fiction on the religious coexist. So you should know everyone that the lightning bolt, I forget what that is. I don't think that's Harry Potter.
Flash.
The Flash. There you go. And then I found this at a math conference. I dream of a world where chickens can cross the road without having to notice questions. Thank you very much.
That's just great. A serious and important topic is going to make me seem even sillier. To me.
Last one, right?
I believe so, yes. So, my title is I Apologize in Advance. A self-indulgent autobiography in 18 limericks. And a haiku. So this goes back to the start of my college in 1984 when I went off to Bowling Green State University as a fresh-faced youngster. My major was writing, then math. A semi-ridiculous path. 10 years plus 1 as a collegian. What fun. Ambition had taken a bath. And by the way, yes, Gauss looks like Grandpa Munster. 11 long years, you wonder? Student teaching at high school, a blunder. I threatened a student, so grad school seemed prudent. 7 more years went asunder. A professional student my station, when much to my consternation, the math chair, named Glass, threw me out on my butt. Time to finish the old dissertation. So now I've got my PhD and I moved on. I got my first 2-year job, a college in central PA, Amish country, I'm sorry to say. bonnets and buggies, no ladies for huggies. And then fortune came my way. A lovely young lass named Kat. At a beer drinking contest she sat. She sure caught my fancy. A speedy romancy. We got hitched. And that, friends, was that. Now that I found me a mate, a real job can no longer wait. So back to Ohio. The family said, "Hi, bro. But you're on the wrong side of the state." So now I've got my job, and I want to get into writing. So I get invited to this thing in the Keys. An event in the westernmost Keys, a big publisher I aimed to please. I aspired to write, and was willing to fight, but 'twas easier to kneel and say, please. So after this weekend, they called me and they wanted me to work on algorithmically generated test banks. Can you generate algos, young man? A quick answer. You're damn right I can. Well, that wasn't true. I hadn't a clue. But it worked out okay, so good plan. Solutions manuals came next. Then a chance to revise an old text. The hences and thuses were not teaching pluses. They left average readers quite vexed. And I did that because nothing rhymes with pissed off. Then things just snowballed from there. A book list as long as my hair. Traveling and speaking and PowerPoints tweaking. Weird stuff follows me around, I swear. So I travel a lot and I see all this weird stuff. I can see getting trampled by moose or poisoned by toxic fruit juice, but I never thought that a trip could be fraught with danger from murderous goose. Walking out of an airplane one day and right on the ramp out, a banana peel on the floor as I walked out an airplane door struck me as funny. This isn't Bugs Bunny. Is a falling anvil in store? Love this. Cal Poly Pomona, you see, has a brewery on campus. Yippee! A lab for brew classes, a gift to the masses. This dude's down with CPP. Some of you folks will remember this little ditty from when we were down at Lake Cumberland. At a park in the south of Kentucky, our hero was not feeling lucky. A ridiculous rule by the side of the pool, but Kymatyc served, so all's ducky. That night, I delivered the keynote, hoping to be slipped a C note. I got brewskis instead, with a nice frosty head. We'll call that a big win. End quote. Again with the geese. Is it me? Are they stalking me now? Should I flee? This just isn't normal. Should I lodge a formal complaint with the next bird I see? Best sign ever. Your lovely new baby's a male, tipping 7 pounds 9 on the scale. Heaven only knows why, with a gleam in her eye, a new mother would name her kid Fail. So it's been a great 22 years at Miami, but I'm retiring at the end of this semester and moving to Florida. My sunset is beckoning now, just 79 days to go. Wow! With Kat by my side and my toes in the tide, I reckon I'll get by somehow. And now my haiku. Now I must finish. Brandon's special Pepsi waits. I bid you adieu.
The best special Pepsi.
Pat, you need to do the audience.
Brandon's coming.
Yeah.
Special Pepsi.
All right, so this is gonna be tough. You
So
gotta.
you're really retiring? Wow, Florida's awesome.
Yeah, well, I will be adjuncting at a school down close to my house in Florida.
We're out in Florida.
It's a town called Northport. It's about halfway between Sarasota and Fort Myers.
You're still coming to Kymatyc every year, right?
One of us.
I will surely try.
One of us.
Or we can come to your house.
Better still, yes.
Hey, everybody heard him say that. Pat, I'm sorry. What? Yeah.
Kymatyc is at your place next year? Is that
Yeah, I can rent a room.
All right, so let's hear. Well, actually, everybody, We'll hear it again for everyone. All right, so I guess it's time. So who wants to vote for Scott McClendon? Boo. All right, let's hear it for Chris the Man Sears. What about Pat Riley? Well, you know, Arthur Schultz. Mr. John Oakes. All right, what about Sherry McCormick? Where have you been in this? Because I cannot tell. Can anybody tell? I don't know anything. Okay. Lynn Tran. I've Jennifer Ackerman. And last but definitely not least, Dave Sabek.
She's a ringer.
Lynn. Or do we need to do two again?
Let's go again. How about Lynn Tran? Dave Sabecki. Almost, Cat.
That's what the mathematicians call an outlier.
Pat, would you like to do the honors and give it to him?
No, go ahead.
All right.
Another
Speech.
Hey, Lynn, you need to take that to James's teacher. and tell her what we got. And tell her why you got that trophy.
And then maybe hit her with it.